Dictus is a hack-and-slash style MMORPG that mixes instant stages with persistent towns. The game is created by DevCat. It uses the Source engines, which allows players to interact with the environment. The gameplay is smooth, the combat is fast-paced, and it all looks gorgeous when put together. Vindictus is a must-try game for MMO fans. Dragon Nest is a solid action-based MMO with tight controls and combat that is deep and rewarding. Some people would say that the graphics are very simplistic and childish, and that's the only reason why the game won't appeal to a lot of players. But if you love good combat mechanics and fun experiences, Dragon Nest is a must-try title. At number 8, I've put DC Universe Online. It was enough reason for me to try out the game simply because it's set in the DC universe, and I love it. The game has some superb voice acting, well-crafted settings, and fast action-based combat. DC Universe Online is without a doubt the best superhero MMORPG today, and every comics fan should try it out for sure. Set in the fantasy universe based upon J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth writings, originally subscription-based, now free-to-play, Lord of the Rings Online has a lot to offer, from its rich fantasy world to the story that remains true to the works of Tolkien. The gameplay is smooth, the questing is fun, but one of the best aspects in the game is the story and the way it's told. Released back in 2007, the game is still enormously popular, with newer and newer players joining in every day. If you love Lord of the Rings like I do, it's enough reason for you to try out the game. At number 6 is yet another action MMORPG by the name of Raider Z. A free-to-play monster hunter as some people call it, Raider Z is a truly beautiful game with great combat mechanics and incredibly fun boss battles. The engine allows players to interact with the environment and even break off parts of boss enemies and use them against them. Although Raider Z is not for the casual gamers, it's very challenging and sometimes frustrating, but nonetheless it's a beautiful game with big boss battles. At number 5 is yet another subscription-based MMO going free to play. AION is a beautiful and well-polished game that introduces fighting on wings. Although the game suffers from a lot of grinding and repetitive questing, it all makes up when you get to level 25 and unlock the PvP/PvE area The Abyss and start fighting versus other players while flying. It is a truly an amazing experience, and if not for something else, you should try the game out just for that. Neverwinter isn't a hardcore MMORPG, it's even more of a single-player game if you ask me. The reason why Neverwinter is my number 4 is the player-made content and dungeons, which are pretty fun and some of them even more enjoyable than the ones already put in the game. Taken in small doses, Neverwinter is a fantastic example of well-made and enjoyable fantasy MMO, which you can play after a long day just to relax. Rift is a well-rounded game that takes the old ways of doing an MMORPG and adds their own twist to them. With the introducing of Rift, the gameplay becomes even more enjoyable as you and other players need to close the rift before it becomes bigger and starts taking areas on the map. Rift also has a great class and soul system. You have 4 basic classes, and within these classes you have a number of souls that fill the roles of DPS, healer, tank and support. Rift is still very popular and I will recommend it to anyone that likes MMOs. Tera is an action MMO that nails the action part with improved aiming, dodging, and tactical timing to create intense and rewarding combat. As some other MMOs, Tera suffers from grinding, but as I said, it all makes up with great combat. The visuals are stunning with great character models and environment. At moments Tera can be really frustrating, but the pleasure you get when you kill another player after an intense battle is what made me put Tera second on my list. Not free to play but buy to play, Guild Wars 2 is worth every dollar you spend on it. The gameplay is smooth with dynamic events, nice storytelling, and not so boring questing. The graphics sure are not the best out there, but don't get me wrong, the game looks pretty beautiful even on lower settings. But the PvP, in my opinion, is where Guild Wars 2 really shines. There are two types of PvP, one is structured and the other is open world or world versus world. The cool thing is that the PvP is designed around balance. You don't even have to level up to play structured PvP. I could talk all day about why Guild Wars 2 is my favorite MMO, but I will leave it at that. If you have few spare bucks, you should really consider buying it.